when I was 9, you know, and unfortunately I'll never get those, but I wrote him that letter to say all of the things that I disliked about him, all of the things that caused me hurt and, you know, affected the way that I was kind of going about life, because I was a fighter, believe it or not. I don't look like one, right? But I was a fighter, believe it or not, and that was because I had so much pent up energy in me that I didn't know what to do with it. And I told him that when I grow up and I have children, my children will call my stepfather grandpa. They will not acknowledge you. But I was just really coming from a place of hurt, and I wanted him to feel that hurt that I was feeling. And so in my groups, when I talk to people about repairing relationships, I always encourage, especially guys, because I know it's hard for you guys because you have so many different things coming at you. And then on top of that, you're looking at it like I have these little disrespectful kids coming at me too, and I'm not going to have that. But sometimes they just really need to get it out, and sometimes you have to be that sounding board. And it's not that they really need any feedback or kickback. They need to get it out, and they need to know that no matter what they say, right, that you're going to be there, that you're going to make strides to show up. And I can honestly say, too, that the relationship that I didn't have with my father growing up, my children were able to have. So even in his passing, I have 3 children, and they all know who my father is. You know, we still talk about their grandfather. And that's just, you know, one thing that I made a promise to myself to do. You know, so when we think about forgiveness and we think about, you know, kind of stepping up to the plate and being accountable, you know, we've all made some horrible mistakes. But how long do you beat yourself up for it? The rest of your life? Hell no. You know? All right, we're going to address this thing. We're going to talk about it. Let's put it all out there on the table. We're going to get through this snotting and this crying, and we're going to make attempts to move forward. It's going to take work. And when you make that decision to kind of step up to the plate and to, you know, hold yourself accountable, and you're in front of your own children, it's important that no matter how upset you get or how deep that wound is, that you stick and stay. Right? I'm not a sports person, but I do know about sticking and staying. And so you just stick and stay, and you give them that outlet. You answer the questions no matter how challenging it will be. And so that was one thing that kind of dropped in my spirit to talk about. And then the other thing was to talk about how a lot of times, like I said, when it comes to men, you guys have so many things coming towards you. Oftentimes with the men that I have worked with and the men that I'm in contact with, they always have this preconceived notion that the mother is turning the kids against them. When a lot of times that isn't the case, you know, because we pick our partners, right? The kids don't pick our partners. And so when things happen and it doesn't work out between you and the mother, the kids should not be torn between the two of you, you know, no matter what that looks like. So a lot of times, you know, the women aren't turning the kids against the fathers. A lot of times the kids are stepping into their own idea of what has happened and what is taking place, and, you know, why their fathers aren't around. And then they struggle with rejection, you know. So again, no matter what it looks like for you, just being here tonight, it does not mean that your kids don't value you, that they don't want a relationship with you. Even if they say to you, I don't want to be bothered, you know that that's coming from a place of hurt. They want to know that you're going to continue to show up for them in spite of, you know. And then it's important that as men, that you take advantage of the opportunity to kind of get some stuff out there and allow yourself to be vulnerable. And I know a lot of you are looking at me like, this young girl is going to come in here and tell me to be vulnerable. But that's the only way to heal. You know, you have to allow yourself to go to those dark places and to give those places and those pieces of you a voice. Because once you give them a voice and you shine the light on them, they can't hurt you. They can't haunt you, you know. And once you make it up in your mind, all right, I'm going to hold myself accountable for the wrongs that I've done to people, and I'm moving forward. Will people constantly remind you of the areas that you have fallen short on? Absolutely. Go ahead.
You know what, that's one thing that my father, you know, when I was growing up, I never listened to him because I thought my parents, and this is normal, I thought my parents didn't know nothing. I thought, you don't know what you're talking about. My father used to tell me certain things about the boys hanging out, you know, the way I was dressing, lifting weights all the time. And I told him, I never told him that. I'm sorry, I never told him that. But I used to think my parents were stupid. But when my life changed, now I'm glad I got to be on really good terms with my father before he died, years before he died. And he was impressed. Oh, you know, I wish I had went to school, but he never threw in my face how I didn't listen to him when I was growing up. He never did that. I don't know if I'm sure he forgave me, but he never threw, you remember when you grew up, you wouldn't listen to me, and I told you so. He never did that. And he was my best friend. He became my best friend. And my son, we all look alike. We all look alike. My father, I look like my father, and my son looks exactly like me. And he lifts weights. So, but my father, we got our relationship together before he died. His name was James Smith. He never scolded me. In fact, my father never hit me growing up. My mother did. Because my mother said, if your father get a hold to you, my father was 6'2". He'll kill you. That's what she used to tell me all the time. And I would brush it off.
No, I'm fine. Thank you, though.
But I was glad I got a chance. Him, you know, we became friends, father and son. That's when I grew up. Because when I was young, you can't tell me what to do.
Like most of us in the room, right?
Yeah.
What do they say? A hard head or a hard, what is it?
Hard head makes a soft ass.
All right. See, he said ass. That's all. Go ahead.
I kind of grew up without my father. My mother kind of raised me. So I always kind of told myself I'd never be like him. And I look like him, I walk like him, and never really hung around him. But I have kids now, and my fear is them being or going through the wrong path like my father did, and them not accepting me because of what I'm going through right now and not being able to be there for them. And, you know, I have 3 girls and 3 boys. And
you got 6 kids?
I lost one when I went to jail.
He can add
to the state, you know what I mean? And it was a whole thing about nobody wanting to get her, and it hurts me. It kind of is the reason why I kind of turned her, you know, from being normal. Like, I was just a normal person. I wasn't running around getting high, acting a fool. You know, I went to jail for selling drugs, and you know, my decisions I chose affected my whole family. Not just my kids, my mother, my aunts. It affected everybody. I thought I was just affecting and hurting myself when I did that time and did what I did to get to the jail. But I didn't know it would affect everybody.
Because when you're in it, you don't think about everybody, right? We are operating from a selfish position. And so it's like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to get this money. I'll pass off to y'all and y'all are good. But we don't think about the ramifications that come as a result of our actions. And you said something that's very profound. And you stay away because you're afraid that the kids won't accept you, right? But really all those little people want is for their daddy to show up, right? A lot of times we get in our own way and we're placing judgment on ourselves that then we begin to project onto other people. So they don't care what you have going on right now. They just want to see that you're breathing. They just want you to be around, be able to click a few pictures with you, you know. But a lot of times, a lot of men stay away when they're not in the position to pass off financially. And being a father, being a parent is so much more than the financial aspects of it.
I got another thing where I used to look at raising kids, being raised by a mother. it made me think that it's okay to not. I don't want to say it.
Say
because
it.
It hurts.
That's that thing we need to shine a light on.
I think it's alright for the mother, for us to kind of run away, and the mother be there, because my mother did it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of men scared to say that's not there with their child's mother. Because being raised by a woman, I'm telling you, it makes you, when you get older, it makes you think that. Like they're going to be okay. They got their mom.
Right.
We was raised
and that's
by
honest.
Yeah.
That's honest.
And I thought like that in my mid 20s. But as I got older, I'm 35 now, and I'm like, damn, that wasn't the case.
When we know better, we do better, right? And so only life and different lessons that come from us doing our journey and our life walk will allow us to be in a position to make sense of things, right? So now that you're older, you know, children need both parents, whether I'm with the mom or not, right? My kids need me. I'm going to show up for my kids. I don't care what you're talking about. I don't care who you're dealing with.
Right.
At the end of the day, my kids are going to know who I am. I'm going to show them that their father cares about them. And it's not too late. It's not too late, because if you get involved now, from this day forward, right, then you'll be able to kind of chisel away at those daddy issues that society calls it. Those feelings of being rejected and being unwanted, and especially for girls, but guys go through it too. When one of the parent, and I'm not even going to just keep saying the fathers, because there are some absent mothers too, but when one parent is gone, then that child grows up feeling unwanted, not good enough, and then they try to overcompensate in different ways, you know, with different things, whether it be toxic relationships, whether it be drinking and drugging, you know, whether it's just being rambunctious, whatever the case may be, whatever that thing is, to try to fill that dark hole is what that person will gravitate towards, when all they really want is for that parent that's not around to show up. So you have an opportunity to fix it.
Well, two of my twins' birthday is the 25th.
Okay.
They turned 17.
That's Thursday.
This Thursday.
Okay.
So I got a thing or something to do.
Show up. That's it. It's not even about money. You can go empty-handed. If you show up and you say, I just wanted to see y'all on your 17th birthday, that's more than enough.
Okay, that's
get out
hard
of your
for
own
men
way.
to do sometimes.
That's what I'm saying. I know it's hard for a man
That's
to
hard
do,
for a
but
man to
men
do.
will stay away because of finances. Don't do that.
That's hard for a man.
We
to
all
do
can
sometimes.
think back to when we were little, right? And like you said, your dad wasn't around. I'm
But
pretty sure.
can I interject? Why is it hard for a man to do?
You know, I wish we could answer that.
And I'm glad you said that, because
I
sometimes
wish
you don't
we
have
could
the
answer
answer. I'm so glad you said that,
I'm
because
telling
we
you.
don't know.
Right.
Do
It
anybody
makes
in
you
here
go
know?
in perception.
Other men, do y'all know why?
I don't know.
Huh?
It's sometimes it's hard for us to show up with no money. I don't know if it's pride. I don't even
It's
know
pride.
if it's the same.
We feel bad, y'all.
You feel bad. You feel like the mother's going to judge you, right? And sometimes it's not even about the kid. It's the mom. I don't want her to know that I'm in this situation. Communicate with her. Listen, I feel on hard times. I'm not in a position to do X, Y, Z, but
You know, when relationships go bad, sometimes women are out for blood.
sometimes they are.
They are out for blood.
And let's not divert from. Let's not.
And I'm
And
not-
hold on one second. Let's not divert and go from the child to the other parent.
Right,
Let's
right. I'm
stick
not
with the
doing
child.
that.
I'm not saying you are,
Right.
but I'm saying we can go away from what we're talking about, the relationship between the child,
and
you know, the mother.
Right.
Okay, but going back to what the children want, not what mama said, not what daddy think, and all the kind of stuff. And yes, that's hesitant. But if we switch places and find out where we were and what we wanted as children, then we can, feel what our children are in need of too. And you said, as hard as it may be, but that ego and pride, once we recognize it, even if we don't want to acknowledge it, what is more important, my ego or pride, or my relationship with my child? You had something?
Go ahead.
Well, I have two boys. My youngest son, he understands the position I'm in. He knows I could only be there when I can get there. But my oldest son, since he was a little boy, all his mom put in his ear, well, if daddy's not buying you nothing or spending money on you, he don't love you.
Do we know that to be a fact?
She told him that.
Okay.
Like she literally talking on the phone, and he even told me that she said that to him.
So even with her saying that, right? So we'll just go with that. She's putting all of this negativity into your son's ear. You still show up, right?
I try my best because him and his mom, they stayed down in Dover.
Okay.
And I have a hard time getting
down there.
Down there.
Can you call? Because now we have technology, right? You can FaceTime kids, you know, and it's going to take some work because you have to chisel away at his mother, right? Because of maybe some of the hurt that was displaced on her during the relationship, you know, and then the time that you haven't been around. But when you start making an effort, she'll probably beat you down a little bit. But that's what we have the court systems for. And I know, again, that ties into pride. And then a lot of men are like, I don't want to go to the courts because then they're going to take me for child support, right? But you have a right to be involved with your children.
She, as far as child support, she signed away her rights to sue me for child support.
Okay.
But yet and still, when I do try to call and talk to him, you know, how you doing, how's your grades and everything, and he just sits there quiet. I have nothing to say. That's what he'll tell me. I have nothing to say.
Because he doesn't know what to say, and he doesn't. It sounds like he doesn't really know you, right? And so that's going to take extra work on your part. Be consistent. Call once a week. Make a commitment to say minimally, I want to call my son once a week just so that he can hear my voice. That little boy is going to grow up, and he's going to have questions when he grows up. But at least he'll be able to say, my dad made an attempt.
And see,
he's 17 right now.
He's 17. Okay. So he's almost into adulthood.
Can I interject also? Because I want to hear from the horse's mouth. Those who have actually lived what she's talking about. When your father wasn't there and you wanted your father to show up, what were some of your thoughts and your feelings? You know what I mean? What did you think about your parents?
Every other weekend.
You what?
Many of the times as I could.
So I'm talking about if you was raised without your father. You know, was there a time when you wanted to reach out or you wanted him to reach out?
No, I was raised with a father.
Okay, sometimes of those who wasn't raised without a father. So what were some of your feelings and thoughts?
I wasn't raised with my father.
You weren't?
No.
So some of the things that you felt when he didn't show up or when those phone calls weren't made.
Well, actually, he couldn't show up because basically when I was born, he got locked up.
Okay.
He nearly did a life bid in jail. So when I seen him, I was like 14, 15 years old.
Okay.
No,
did you know what to say when you saw him?
I didn't know who he was. The thing was that he came up on me. He knew who I was, but I didn't know who he was. He came up on me and grabbed me. And I got scared and grabbed a 40-ounce bottle and hit him upside the head with it. And some guy just ran up and got my mom, and my mom came down and said, "That's your dad." I was like, oops.
You said oops or you said oh shit?
That. Okay. So
Wow.
I was stunned, you know, because I didn't know who he was.
Okay.
But
So
we bought a relationship, you know. We got together and we talked, chat, and everything. I seen him like every other weekend, you know, when he's not doing nothing. We'll go to parks and everything, chill out, relax, take pictures and stuff like that. And
things that didn't cost money, right?
Right. Then once something happened, he got locked back up again. I didn't see him until I turned 21.
Okay.
So I did get to know him and everything. So
Okay.
that was pretty cool.
Good.
You know, I never, as growing up, I never looked for my father to do anything, like buy me a pair of sneakers or buy me this, or I never looked for him to do anything.
But you had your father, though, right?
Yeah.
So we're talking about those who don't have their father. Just pause for a second.
Yeah, I was going to say, go ahead.
So you
Yeah,
know,
I'll pause.
so you was raised without your father. So let's stick with that for a minute. Go ahead.
My father when I did get to meet him, the only time he wanted anything to do with me is when he wanted me to work for him.
Okay.
And even at that point, I would say, well, Dad, I need a couple dollars because I want to get some new shoes, or I want to do something, have some money so I can get some clothes for school.
Mm-hmm.
His favorite punchline was always, I ain't never got no money.
Okay.
And okay, that's fine, that's cool, but you expect me to work for you but not want to give me a little something. I mean, I'm not asking you for $1 million.
So how did that make you feel?
I was angry. I was angry.
Did you ever talk to him about it?
Kind of.
We can't go with kind of, right? Because I can't deal with something that I'm not privy to, right? I can't fix a problem that I don't even know exists. So if I'm doing the best that I can with what I know how, meaning I'm going to go get my boy and I'm going to take him to work with me, right? That, to me, we're bonding. You know?
I could, yeah. Now that I think about that, that was kind of his way of trying to bond with.
So think about it as men, right? We hold on to anger because we're taught by society and by the women that raise us, right, that we're supposed to hold things in and we're not supposed to be vulnerable and that we can't show emotion, right? But then you go through your whole life and you get to the point of being 35 and you still have all of that stuff from when you were that little boy, right? So now I'm out here making babies, right? But then when responsibility kicks up, I revert back to that little boy.
Well, gentlemen,
That's-
y'all have chores, right? And it is 1:15, so I need to be obedient. So let's give Miss Maddrey a hand.